Coffee. Okay.
You are their dad.
This has been bothering. Thank you. Thank you for that. Welcome back, guys, to Cases and Cocktails. This is episode 22, and I'm here again with my beautiful wife, Janice. How are you?
Fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing well. I think you look beautiful today.
Let's start with me.
Come on. Absolutely beautiful today. We're here today, guys, with Alex Groth from Springline Wealth. How are you doing today, Alex?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Before we go any further, I have to stop down. Did you do that on purpose?
Sort of.
Yeah. Your last name is Groth, and you literally help people grow their wealth.
I was made for it.
Man, he's made. Y'all hear that? He was made for this. You doing all right today?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. Today, because of you, we have a very special drink. My beautiful wife is going to tell us what it is.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to pronounce it Boulevardier, but I feel like that might not be right. But it's bourbon, sweet vermouth, and Campari.
You're a huge bourbon fan.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this cocktail.
I know. It's not an old-fashioned. I personally know that you may have some affinity towards an old-fashioned.
Those are my Wisconsin roots right there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
We live here,
whatever
yeah.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah, right
yeah,
there.
there you go. That's fair. All right. Y'all want to try it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, here you go.
Cheers.
Cheers. I could do that.
You can do that? I think the vermouth is a little dry for me. What do you think?
You like sweeter.
I do. I do. I like that. Bourbon, though, I'm fantastic. Do you know what bourbon we used? No?
No clue.
Oh, no clue. All right. Cheap plastic bottle bourbon. The best.
Goes a long ways.
Only the best for you, sir. Only the best for you.
Oh, it might be Garrison Brothers.
Garrison, nice. Oh, that's the fancy stuff.
It's just stuff from the house.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's fancy stuff. All right. I like that. How you doing today?
Today's a great day.
Yeah, man.
It is.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Tell us a little bit about Springline Wealth.
So Springline Wealth, we are an independent firm who focuses on providing comprehensive financial plans for families and business owners.
Nice. Fantastic. How long have you been doing it?
So I've been in this industry for 18 years and was in different corporate roles and jumped out and started Springline and opened my own business a couple years ago now. So it's been going on 2.5 years.
Nice. Fantastic. You like it?
I love it. It's great.
18 years. Why'd you choose the financial side of things?
I've always been interested in it, and it's something that I've been passionate about, right? Just take my last name, for instance.
Well,
right?
I mean,
Like,
it literally makes sense, right? Doesn't it? So.
I think for me, it's the reward of helping people work through complicated issues and distilling it down into ways they can understand and giving them ease and peace of mind in making important financial decisions.
Fantastic, man. That's fantastic. We run into that often with divorces, right? When a lot of it's figuring out what the parties have and really identifying the assets or whatever financial vehicles, the investment vehicles that they've got, but then also how to split those up between them, and then also how to help our clients be successful on the back end.
Yeah. Usually we've got one client that was the breadwinner and another one, even though they might have been working, which is more normal now, they weren't making as much money. And so they're scared about their financial future. That's why we send them to you.
Yeah, I mean, it can really be, hit over the head. You know, one of the spouses, especially if they're not the primary, like financial advocate, right? They're not the one primarily dealing with the finances, paying the bills and things like that. And so, when that split happens, right, that can cause some anxiety and stress. And so, that's where you need to sit back, relax, and find some professional assistance to help guide you.
The other thing that happens too is that sometimes one of the spouses will end up with a pension, right? They'll end up with a portion of the other spouse's pension or that sort of stuff. Or sometimes the solution is to get an annuity, right, and have one spouse pay out the other, buy an annuity for the other spouse in order to effectuate the division of the estate. And so those are things that you help them understand what that is, one, and two, how to navigate, and three, how it affects their financial situation. their longevity.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's first talk about if someone's getting divorced. Obviously, we help them figure out what assets they have and what liabilities they have and that sort of stuff. What kind of financial investment vehicles should we be looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, what you're gathering is really the basis of a financial plan. The way that we think about it, it's making sure we have inventory of everything that's there right now, especially with the split, making sure that the titling is correct, right? We've got them split out appropriately, but then it's talking about their financial priorities and goals now that the divorce has happened, right? Have things changed? Do you have different goals than your ex-spouse did, right? And so it's establishing that baseline, seeing all the data and the information that's there, what the accounts are doing, and then matching that up with your goals and filling any gaps and helping to create a plan.
And what we're talking about, we're talking about the basics, right? Which are 401k, see that all the time, IRAs, right? That sort of a thing. You get into pensions, pension plans, right? Certain people have teachers or maybe
military or yes.
You've got that. Then you've got some annuities. Are there any other exotics out there that we should be aware of?
I mean, there's a ton of exotics, but I think we often see people want to keep it simple.
Yeah.
When we get into a lot of complex situations, then a lot of times we're talking to like individual, like self-employed people, business owners that have developed tax strategies and plans that have worked for them and their business to help save for retirement and also for tax. And so those can be a little more complicated to split and work through, but we can help guide them.
That's fair.
When people come to you and they show you their financial portfolio, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen in the past?
Sure. So one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen.
I think the biggest mistake he's ever seen was I think he had a client one time that kept $10,000 in a boot. Not just
just
saying.
throwing that out
just
there.
throwing it out there, right? That's a big mistake, isn't it, Alex?
I would not advise
you're not
that as
advising
my emergency fund. No.
Are you listening back there? Okay, all right.
No comment.
All right,
no comment.
Just saying. All right, that's fair. No, seriously, what are the big mistakes that you've seen?
Sure. So the big mistakes I see is you have you have different types of accounts, right? Be that just like emergency saving cash accounts, right? What I would call non-qualified accounts, which are just investment accounts that you've already paid tax on. That money is there just working in the markets.
Right.
You have your IRAs, your 401ks, and when you look at that, everything's invested the same way across the board.
Yeah.
Same funds, same risk tolerance, all of it, right?
Yeah.
And the way that we approach it is, those different accounts are meant for different purposes. Like, why should they have the same risk tolerance? Why should they be in the same investments, right? We need to look at analyzing that. And I think that's a problem in our industry is that everybody is really focused on asset allocation, investments, right, as the forefront of kind of how they put themselves out there, right? And don't get me wrong, like that's vitally important to a financial plan. But what's more so in our view is to develop that baseline and get the priorities and the goals set, understand the inventory, and then fill in gaps and work towards where you want to get to rather than first and foremost focusing on the investments, right? It needs to match
kind of what the goal is.
What your goals are and what you want to do.
If you want to retire next year, that's a much different goal than 20 years down the road.
It is, we need that. Then you need that market
to help you immediately, right? Or you just need to buy more boots. It depends on what investment vehicles you have it in.
Yeah,
right?
both can be savvy strategies if they work out, right?
That's right. I think one just smells like leather. I think.
Why do you think when people come to you, there's such a lack of diversification?
Apathy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apathy. I think that they've gone to an advisor or somebody that maybe their parents have used, right, or someone that's down the street, and they just have an initial plan and put the money in there and forget about it and don't revisit it, right? And so what our approach is to yes, we do that, and develop that initial financial plan, but then it requires massaging and updating throughout the year. And, because life changes and throws you curveballs all the time, and you need to be ready to move and change and make adjustments to what you're doing.
And thanks to us, you're used to all the curveballs.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Oftentimes, we have clients, and people that are listening and following along with us. We have clients, and they may not have access to a financial planner. Tell me, first of all, what is the access to you like? Is it they literally just call you? And then you get an appointment set up? Do they have to pay you tens of thousands of dollars up front for you to talk to them? Or
They do not, no. I mean, we will listen to phone calls. We'll take phone calls, have that initial consultation, kind of get an understanding of where they are at, where that potential client is, what their financial situation is, what kind of guidance and assistance they're looking for. And then it's their turn to interview us too, and learn more about our background and history and kind of our approach to this financial planning world. And it goes both ways, and it has to be a good match and a good relationship, because in our view, you're in it for the long haul, and you've got to like the person that you're working with. Right. So that goes both directions.
Let's say hypothetically someone, though, they don't want to hang out with a financial planner, they want to do it themselves. What are some really good tips that you can give someone? One, particularly coming right out of a divorce. You just got divorced and you're kind of starting anew. What would be the steps that you think they should start to take to make sure that their finances are headed in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I think of is cash flow, right? As if you're going through these divorces, and you've got, are both spouses working? They have their income, right? Is there money owed to the other through child support or alimony or whatnot? And so it's getting your handle on your cash flow. Yeah.
And really, that's just sitting down and coming up with a budget.
That's right. Yeah.
That's as simple as back of the napkin, right? This is my rent, my mortgage, right? This is my utilities. This is my, my car insurance, my car payment, right?
Yeah.
And then once you figure that out, then what would you suggest they do?
Yeah, then it's time to kind of look further and take that next step out and meet with somebody like us and a professional to help develop the strategy and goals to get you where you want to go. It's oftentimes uncomfortable for people to sit there and, if we're talking about goals and ask them about goals, right, they just sit there like a deer in the headlights. It's like they've never thought about it, or, have thought past kind of the next 6 months, the next year. And so it's our job to help kind of in the conversations get that information out of them, right?
And really, to be honest with you, it's something that's a fluid situation that has to be revisited, right? So it's not just sit down and conceptualize, where do you want to be in 5 years, right? It's like, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? And in 6 months or a year, we need to come back and revisit this and make sure we're on the same track. Because a lot of times, at least for us, we see parents or spouses, and they're what is it? Uncoupling, I think is what I'm supposed to say. They're getting divorced, and they're going away from each other. But then in 2 years or a year, sometimes even less than that, I guess, maybe a month, I don't know, already they're seeing someone else. Right?
Yeah, initially they can't even think about a life other than what they're still grieving that they're losing, right? Mm-hmm. And so obviously, hopefully that changes and they're able to move on from it. Sometimes it happens faster. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but that will potentially change their financial goals.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Once that changes, then their financial goals change, and that's something that needs to be addressed as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. The first step is get that budget, get that cash flow situated, right? What are the what are the beneficiaries on your accounts, right? Do those need to be changed to, your children or some kind of estate plan that you have put in place with an estate planning attorney? Like those sorts of things need to be addressed as well. And then to your point, right? It's all of a sudden we're in another relationship, and so that uncoupling happened, and now we're moving on to another relationship. What's that person's relationship with money? What's mine? And is it going to be different than what I just got out of? And so now we're kind of starting this whole cycle again.
And I want to go back to the estate plan. I want to go back to the beneficiary thing, but real fast too. Recently, I had a client who got divorced. Client gets divorced, and it was sort of it was high conflict. Let's put it that way, right? It was one of those.
Of your cases
it was one of those. And the client goes through it, and we're talking about they've got businesses, there's assets there, and they're doing the things. And he, my client spent a good amount of money to get divorced. Now my client is in another relationship and looking to get married. And so now we've shifted to a focus of now we are looking at putting in a prenup, right, to help sort of protect those assets and not replicate that divorce situation again, right? And not because we feel like that relationship is going to end, right? But that's really what you're talking about, right? Once you get through the divorce, you change the beneficiaries, you have this estate plan. Once you get in this new relationship, you also have to have mind towards how you're going to protect the financial sort of position that you're in at that point, right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you experienced what you did. Okay. Right. That's now in the past. Now, okay.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah,
let's not do that again.
It sounds
right?
terrible. I mean, I don't want to do it again for you, but I will. It seems odd, but sure.
Be a little selfish in that moment and think about yourself. And okay, this is like now, I need to take, especially if you didn't take care of the finances prior, right? Now okay, let's put some guardrails up and make sure that we're in control of everything.
Let's talk about the beneficiaries real fast too. So people getting divorced, right? You got beneficiaries on 401k, IRA. What are we looking at?
Yeah, 401ks, IRAs, life insurance, right? Those are kind of the easy pickings, right? That need to be updated, that are often overlooked.
Yeah,
for sure.
And those need to be updated to be. Would you recommend they be to the children or to a trust? I mean, what do you typically? I mean, I'm sure it's fact specific, but what do you typically say?
Yeah, it's certainly fact specific, right? Yeah. I mean, I think if you have minor children, then you're probably going to want to designate it to a trust or what have you, because you don't want
the 16-year-old with
to all of a sudden inherit
money and
$500,000 of an insurance policy and then go have a big party. So,
I mean,
it sounds fun, right?
That's what you would do, right? So let me ask you: you gonna leave it all to our kids?
Yeah. I'd have to ask Alex.
Oh, there you go. That's fine.
I handed him with my boot with money. And
there you go. You gave her the boot.
Go. I kept the boot and gave her back the money.
There you go. That's fair. So at some level, so you change the beneficiaries, that sort of stuff. Change the will. Obviously, that's another one that needs to be
make
done.
sure that gets updated. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Tell me, once people are divorced and they're moving forward and doing the things, is it best to max out the 401k, the IRA? Should they keep it all in cash? What do you typically see?
Again, it's client specific, right? And that's where, like, general rule of thumbs, right, or your YouTube, TikTok, Instagram kind of videos of financial advice, in a silo, they're fine, but like, do they apply to you?
Right.
And so
that's your facts.
Yeah. And so that's where, like, I think those avenues provide great advice, but it's not, necessarily relevant to you. I think of it, as like financial whack-a-mole, right? It's like shiny object. People want to chase it, but does it apply to your situation and what you're trying to accomplish, right? And oftentimes, no, right? There's some circumstances where it works, but it's not often the case.
Do you think that, there's a magic or a secret trick to this financial planning?
Yes.
There is?
Yeah.
What is it?
Work with a professional who's willing to collaborate with that client's other key advisors to create a comprehensive plan and really be to use a sports analogy, like a quarterback or coach to just help guide all these different discussions and organize what's happening in different facets of that client's world, right? You think about their financial team, right? Their attorneys, their financial planner, their accountant, right? These different professionals that they're engaging, but they're often not communicating with each other.
Right. And that's something you do.
That's that's what we pride ourselves on, is being collaborative with other professionals that client's working with to make sure that we're in concert and working towards the same goal, so we're not being a detriment to the other person's plan, right? We all have one common plan, common
goal. I was hoping that he was going to give me a stock tip. That's what I was hoping to get today, right? Were you?
No, he handles it all.
Oh, he handles it all. Okay, that's fine.
Don't need tips.
I see how it is. Over there at Springline Wealth, what else do we do? Anything else? We're helping people financially do their planning. What else?
Yeah, so helping you financially do the planning, right? We do investment management, right? We take care of asset allocation. We look at risk management quite a bit, right? So we're kind of developing that base of financial plan where we have the budget and the cash flow, right? But we also have to protect what we're doing,
Right.
And so we get into conversations about insurance, whether that's life insurance, disability, long-term care insurance, right? These different levers that we can use and leverage an insurance company's money to provide that backstop of support to to fulfill a financial plan in case
something happens.
The worst happens.
Right, something happens. That's another one, right? The life insurance policy, right, needs to be changed after you get done getting divorced and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, we've often seen it where years down the road, we're evaluating someone's life insurance policy. We're like, who's that person? That's my ex, right? And they didn't have an agreement, written in agreement where they had to have this life insurance policy with their ex as the beneficiary.
Right.
It just happened that they never changed it, and that's something that was overlooked. So it's. Yeah.
How are you? Good?
Good. How are you?
I thought maybe you had a question. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, I got excited. I thought she had a question. I really did. All right. Let's do this. People can contact you. What's the URL over there at Springline Wealth?
Yeah, springlinewealth.com.
Okay.
It's our website.
Fantastic.
So on that site, there's a contact form they can fill out to contact us. There's also a link to a brief questionnaire if they want to engage in financial planning. Just we get a little bit of information about you that comes in. Either myself or Sarah will reach out to schedule that initial consultation.
Fantastic. And when they contact Springline Wealth, they're talking to you.
That's right.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Absolute pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me.
Easy, right? This was easy. This was easy.
Very easy.
Let's see. Probably have you come back and give hot sports opinions about stock picks.
Tariffs.
And tariffs.
Oh, tariff talk.
Yeah, tariff talk. We can do that.
Talk.
We can do that too. That's a thing. Absolute pleasure. Did you enjoy your drink?
It was fantastic.
I did
Appreciate
too.
that.
I thought it was great. Hey Jay. I've always said that if you're going to keep money in your boot, you should have at least 2 boots.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I think that's good financial planning.
Not anymore.
Hey, no lie.
50-50.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's easily divided. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. This is Cases and Cocktails. That's episode 22. And again, Alex, thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Again, springlinewealth.com. If y'all need some help with financial planning over there, we'll see you next time.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.